Good morning. What we need is something that you put on yourself that creates a biohack, a wearable vest or some such that has a vibration when traffic is approaching. It's not hard to do. I can't do it because my channel won't ever get monetized. It's becoming very obvious that people won't hit the subscribe, or, well, more to the point is the fact that I can't, sometimes the algorithm fights me so hard. Like on the last video, it won't even let me change it to the appropriate thumbnail. So that's not a product you bring when you're low resourced. There's intrinsically going to be people who say, oh, it was supposed to keep me safe by all means, whatever. But if you think about it, if we can get it, it's just a convergence of an idea with the technologies that are available now, with the information as to why our bodies can be affected with what they call biohacking, or placement of vibration, etc., stimulus, you can't ignore it, right? So anyway, if I can't get no traction on this, I don't know what to do. I hope somebody else will build it. I mean, think about everybody that's out there behind a garbage truck, everybody that's in construction, everybody that's mowing, everybody that's a first responder, people that are on parade routes, anywhere where people are on their feet close to traffic. It should have been done a long freaking time ago. So there's one of the things, and I had a lot of others, that the first step of it was to get the outreach. Now, I can't bring the message you want, because what's really tripping up my channel is talking about environmental causes, how the soil is the most important, and how grasses are the most important because of how it supports the soil, its growth rates, etc. I lose everything there. So that's the message you need, or I need. My mind will only support doing flex type shit so much, where I'm showing you, I did this or I did that. There's always somebody bigger or badder, right? But now, when it comes to exchange of new paradigms and information as far as the planet and how nature works, etc., there's no competitive component to that. There's no competitiveness to that. I mean, it's there. Just like Zach Bush's disturbed herd theory, where he's a MD, and I never would have thought it, that you reintroduce a keystone species that causes herd migration, and now the vibrations of it cause an electromagnetism that causes water to be liberated from fossilized rock layer, from the fossil rock aquifer, that caused the Colorado to start respringing, to flow again. You would have thought, well, the coyotes, they killed the beavers and then the dims, and it's not even like that. There's these things that we don't see, we don't understand, because we don't look at the very, very smallest of the components. And then, that's a great theory, but with that theory, and he wasn't fleshed out because you can't cover everything in one video, obviously. That would be presumptive that every meal is a steak, i.e. the herd. So you're reintroducing something that causes the herd to act in a more natural way, and then the planet senses that natural movements and vibrations, and you also have dropping of more fertile digested material that supports sub-ecologies, but not every meal can be a steak. So where I focus is at the genesis. I'm always thinking, I'm a genesis thinker, right? I'm looking at, where does all this declination start? If you don't have strong soil, you don't support the microbial diversity that would support the fertility of the soil. It supports the vegetation, and up from there is some small herbivores that are feed between steak events. You see what I'm saying? So if you were just to regain balances by introduction of a keystone species, that's unsustainable, because it solves a problem in the meantime. But sooner or later, with just those two components of the ecology, you're gonna exhaust the on the hoof available proteins So if you start with Genesis, now you're talking about restructuring from the ground up, everything upwards from there. Not just a fix of a particular piece of a problem. You don't, if you got a real problem, you don't bite the middle and chew backwards and forwards. I mean, that's what they're trying to do with the red dyes and all this other stuff. Well, there's a reason they put the dyes in. They had to make the food look more appealing. Why didn't it look appealing like it was? Because nutritional depletion, mineral deficiencies in the soil, et cetera, et cetera. But if you look at a problem from the beginning, and it is harder because you can't get an immediate effect. And that's why it's so hard to restructure these lawns after they've been destroyed. Then you're going to get a good result. You're not going to get a monetizable fix, but you're going to get a result that really means something going forward. Now, I can't do all that, but I can surely give information and paradigms and things like that you're not going to get anywhere else. Okay, you're not going to get it from the people that are pedigreed with their education. They're being bought. I found a number on one of my machines on the bell housing. I looked it up on the coupler for the hydraulic pump in the engine. Well, it just by happenstance ends up being that number is for a grant program for people with their doctorates. So if you wonder why these people with doctorates that understand plant ecologies and declination and observable declination of our food security or food growing migration, all these things, you wonder, well, how come they're not sounding the alarm? And then that's the trouble, is that, well, how much weight do I carry by saying anything? But the reason they aren't, and where it correlates to this number, is with this number, they get ongoing grants. All they got to do is file the paperwork. So it's enough for everybody, all those people of that ilk, to live comfortably for the rest of their life. But guess what? If they say something out of character, right? If they say something that goes against the big ag, big pharma, big everything, guess what happens? They can have the best grant draft proposal writer on the planet. They ain't going to get that grant, right? They're bought. So if you want this type of information that's critical for reestablishing our water cycle, our carbon cycle, our weather patterns, abatement of storms, et cetera, you're going to have to find it from somebody other than those people. They're not going to bring it. And apparently they're not going to bring the safety gear that we need either. So I just wanted to share, I guess, a bit of frustration because I just dropped a video and I thought, well, instead of being preachy, I would present as and the I component was on the thumbnail that I wanted to place with the video, because I understand that it's off-putting for some people to think that somebody's going to come on here and tell them what you should do, right? So I'm emerging with my thought processes as to how to get where I need to be and give the message that's being told me to give, the message that I feel is needed, not the message that is wanted so much, because all of these processes too, they're more difficult. Good things are more difficult, okay? I'm sorry, but they are. And then once you learn these, how these contact exposures from a poorly cut lawn affect the water because of allelopathic biochemical compounds that concentrate, you have a hard time even driving through your area and saying, damn, look at that dude, he's polluting in the worst way. All right, I got to get going. Y'all have a good day.